Hello and welcome to Watchdog Wargaming. This is a continuation of my What's in the Box series. I've been up in the upstairs in the attic, and again I've randomly pulled out a box of could be figures, tanks, vehicles, you name it, and well, here we go. Yep. So back into the old, still got the old file boxes. Like I said, it's brilliant for storing kit in. So let's see what we've got. Okay, so this is my 28mm very British Civil War figures. Um, Probably saw the light of day about 2 years ago. I'm just trying to remember what actually was in here because I've got different factions. Um, those who don't know, very British Civil War is sort of like 1938, where the British King at the time didn't abdicate, and the Parliament and the church carried out all the threats that they were going to put into place. And needless to say, the king stayed on board and put Mosley in as prime minister. And more or less, that's where the Civil War started. So what I'll do is I'll go for the different factions I've got here and also go through what the manufacturers are as well. So just bear with me a second because I'm trying to remember what figures they have. So, right, okay, let's start off with um, these are my Welsh Nationalists. Hang on a second. These are my Welsh Nationalists. So it's basically miners, and they're, as you can see, they're all their equipment is French, World War One French. The premise on this is that they've gone on strike and trying to sort of whole domination of sort of like the valleys, and in support of them, the French miners have given them all the kit and equipment that they needed. So it's these. I think these actual figures are Crusader. I think Crusader or Renegade, but people out there will know exactly which one they are. Again, mounted on pennies. Some of them mounted on pennies, some of them mounted on 2Ps. So yep, that's my Welsh Nationalists. I actually have got someone somewhere a unit actually on horses, sort of the old Welsh pit ponies. So again, it looks like this is probably a Renegade one if I recall rightly, but it's a Hotchkiss machine gun. Nice sculpts on them as well. As to say, it's I must have picked these up from various different sources, Facebook, eBay, or off conventions as well. I haven't seen sort of Renegade out for a long time actually. So yeah, basically there are lots of infantrymen. I do use lots of different rules and sort of like my own rules, bolt action I've been using. Some of the rule sets that come out by Very British Civil War, but that's actually part of the actual thing I like is that there's not an actual dedicated rule set per se. That's the light machine gun. It does look like a Bren, but it's not sure which that one is. So the paint job's not that bad. So it's not bad for the actual battlefield anyway. Okay, it's got some more other troops in the center. These are definitely Crusade, and there's a couple of special figures in there as well. Now these, if you can actually tell on him as well, I think that's a Warlord figure. But I actually been using him for I use him for he's the other chaps in the blue down here are actually I use as a sort of Air Force Defence sort of RAF regiment or predecessor to the RAF regiment. So these will probably be your your ground crews, your pilots and everything else. Most of my figures are actually sort of set in sort of the Wiltshire area, so we'll go on to later on. So I think that was a special figure that I went to a convention and they had a game where you have to blow up a bunker, and if you won the game, you got this character and it's carrying an explosive satchel charge. Nice figure. It goes well with all my 28mm figures I've got. With these the RAF crew, I've actually got I think it's a Crosley World War One tender, and I actually had some 148, 143rd scale biplanes which I go with these quite nicely. I think one of them's a Tiger Moth. Yeah, so what I might do is actually repaint these at some point and actually put them into my World War II British Army, so BEF. They've got the SMLEs and everything else. There we are. And of course, he's got the old Bren gun, so light machine gun. Oh, there's another one in there as well. A few of these are actually conversions as well. So what I've got here, this is actually a Royal Navy sort of gun team. So this is a Royal Navy gun team, which I've got here. This is like a homemade limber. I think the actual gun on it was 15mm, but I've put it on a little bigger mount. The wheels I think came off a medieval gun, but it does sort of give that field gun look. I think the actual front of it's probably off a World War One German gun. And then again, you've got a limber there. A limber's been a right potch or something. I actually think that was actually off Napoleonic. So if you've ever seen the Royal Navy field gun race, that's what it's for. So this chappie here is their officer. This is actually I've changed the gun on it as well, so it looks more like a pistol. But originally this was a Victorian fantasy Martian officer that he actually had like a laser pistol, which I've changed. So that's their officer. Again, these are all from different manufacturers, and this is the actual sort of like the converted these ones, so they're actually the gun crew. So he's carrying the ammunition for it, and he's actual the loader when it's ready to fire. Again, different manufacturers for Royal Navy landing party, but something different, and you don't see these on the battlefield that often. This one's actually armed with a Lewis gun. And the Lewis gun was from Colonel Bill. It's one of his rangers. They do sort of Lewis guns, Lee Enfields, and a few other weapons. So armed with a cutlass and a light machine gun. Must have hands like Garth to carry it that way, but very, very, very good. Another converted officer. I think he had sort of I don't know if it was a flare gun, but I've changed it so it actually looks like some type of revolver he's got in his hand now. A few more. This chappie, I actually had a Stain gun arm on it, but I've changed it so it does look a little bit like a Lancaster, which naval sort of landing parties used to have, and he's got a bit of a stick grenade there as well. Looks like a senior NCO. Nice bushy beard on him, right big bushy beard. So that's the last of the Royal Navy landing party. Now, like I said, I like to use vehicles that you can get on eBay, and this one was it's a Lancia armored car, probably pre-war, but I use this for my British basically it's used by the British fascists. So it's been sprayed black. It's called Mortis. It's got a few sort of transfers that people may recognise from the old Games Workshop Imperial Guard markings, but yeah, it's not bad for a fascist armoured car. Probably a present from Mussolini, you never know. Let's take the field gun out. So, okay, so there's a few specialist command ones here. I think these are Renegade. Please tell me if I'm wrong. So we have we've got the signaller there. So 1938. So we still got the Morse code, still signaling. We've got just coming into the heyday for sort of radios and everything. Again, you've got a chappie there with Pigeon, Speckled Jim. Talking of Speckled Jim, we just definitely got somebody who looks like General Melchett. The old lions led by donkeys. Another typical officer. That looks very much like a Blackadder type figure. That could be George. And I think we've got here, so it's actually like an ATS figure. I'm not sure if it's one of the ones that was meant to look like with the royal family, but yeah, so that could be young Bob. So if you're into Blackadder, you know what I mean. And of course, an officer reading a map. And now I think I got this from Salute a year ago, 2 years ago. I think this was meant to be their Lawrence for Arabia figure. I converted into a dispatch rider, and it's sort of like Corps of Military Police. So it's a dispatch rider or a policeman on there. Sort of the old white webbing, red hat. I don't know. It's got an M on it, so I painted it as a matchless motorcycle. Now, like I said, it's all based around Wiltshire, and one of my things was based on the Great Western Railway. Now, running through Wiltshire, the Great Western Railway had lots of track and everything else, and part of the actual Civil War was certainly on for my part, was if you bought a ticket, then the Great Western Railway would make sure that you get to your destination. And on each train, they actually had an armed guard. So, which was called the GWR, the Great Western Rifles. So yeah, that's great. Old GWR was their Great Western Railway or Great Western Rifles. So. So this is their officer, who's actually the boss's son, who happened to be a sort of a great white hunter armed with his sniper rifle. I think it's actually a tag modern rifle, but does the job. And then his entourage, which are I think these are Woodbine miniatures, but they're all Gurkhas. And that links in with the Great White Hunter. So this would be his personal entourage when he went on the hunt. And again, this sort of picked up all these figures up from random places. Again, lovely figures, and you could use these for anything, to be honest. I said, and that's one reason why I like very British Civil War. You can get figures and actually change them. I do have somewhere. Sort of a shed load of civilians, and you know, I've got old ladies armed with umbrellas and vicars, and as in from the church, armed with sort of like hockey sticks and a few other bits and bobs. And talking of churches, you've one of the factions is sort of pro-church. So we've got this this officer here armed with his crucifix. So get behind me, Satan. So yeah. I've got some World War One Germans in here. I'm not sure what they're doing in there, but perhaps I had an idea to paint those up at some time. They look like Renegade to me, so Renegade figures. Actually, I think these are from a mate of mine called Eddie Watts. So cheers for those, Eddie. So they'll go in the box at some point and be used. And then not forgetting, this is so this is probably my Wiltshire Regiment locals. So again, sort of most of the certainly within the very British Civil War time period, the regulars didn't know what to do or which side to take, but a lot of the territorial or reserve units had local affiliations, so they went with one side or another. So these ones are these are Renegade. Certainly the chunkier ones are Renegade World War One figures, and I use these for Wiltshire Regiment territorials. So it's these actually not bad painted up actually. So it's these are probably the ones that I did ages and ages ago. So you got the Vickers machine gun there, a medium machine gun and not a heavy machine gun as people seem to think. It's a medium because of the 303 rounds it actually used. And then you've got the winter war ones where they've got the sheep fur for later on in the trenches when there's lots of snow down. You've got the soft caps. So these are the Renegade, who would have been the Renegade early war figures. Another Vickers, but this is from a different manufacturer now. Again, I'm not sure. I possibly Woodbine on these ones. I think it's certainly not as chunky as the Renegade ones. Got a couple of bombers. So these are the chaps where you go out and with the Mills grenades and everything else with the balaclavas, looking sneaky beaky. And more of your rank and file with the again, these are all Renegades, so this would be your infantry soldiers with the short magazine Lee Enfield. All the webbing they've got on is definitely World War One era and not the 1938 pattern. Okay. There we are. So that is part of my very British Civil War. What's in the box? As I said, GWR, Great Western Railway, or Great Western Rifles. Yeah, so that's actually only some of the factions I've got. I'll have another rummage and see what else we can pull out upstairs. So hopefully, if you like and see what I've been doing, please like and subscribe below. Please leave any comments. You know, I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Whether it's how you paint figures, basing figures. I just give you what I do. It's okay for me. It's enough to get your figures onto the battlefield. And with very British Civil War, you know, it's please read up on it. There's lots of websites out there, lots of people who are very, very interested in it, and you know, you might have some spare figures hidden away that you've been wondering what to use them for. Very British Civil War is a brilliant idea. A very good concept as well. So thanks for your time, much appreciated, and I will see you on the next What's in the Box. Thank you very much for your time. Bye now.